A very good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados is hoping that the Employment Rights Tribunal will be up and running by early January, and C2SAB says it's in the process of identifying new nominees to sit on that tribunal. President of C2SAB Cedric Murrell says the resignation of 8 members of the Employment Rights Tribunal is regrettable and very unfortunate. He says the Congress would have expressed its concerns about the difficulties the tribunal was facing on 2 occasions back in August and again in November.
The Congress will, before making those nominations, have to be assured that the necessary infrastructure and and the actual procedures and so on are in place. We have already signaled that very clearly to the ministry, and we're really anxious to be part of ensuring now that what should be done and put in place is in place.
General Secretary of C2SAB, Dennis DePisa, says the cases need to be heard by their tribunal as a matter of urgency, as the workers' rights must be protected.
Those workers who have been retrenched, they have justice served, and our interest is to ensure the systems that are being set in place, they function, and that they function with a level of speed. I mean, in terms of getting all that is necessary in place and operationalized so that the cases could be heard. And we are committed to doing what is necessary from labor to end to drive that process.
The payout Barbados received from its excess rainfall policy will go to assisting the residents of White Hill, St. Andrew. DLP candidate for St. Andrew in the last election, Senator Irene Sandiford Garner, made the revelation as she toured the collapsed road today. Barbados received a $1.28 million payout by the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility earlier this month. Senator Sandiford Garner says the money will assist with the relocation efforts and/or the construction of a new road.
I understand from the Ministry of Finance that the fund is pretty efficient, and in no time that money was there, and the Minister of Finance would have shared that he was very clear that that money be put in safety in the central bank to take care of the people of White Hill and to take care of not only the reciting, but to look at the provision for the road and if there will be a new road.
Senator Sandiford Garner says hope is on the horizon for residents of White Hill who need to move urgently. She says 35 house spots are now available at Sedge Pond, which is on the border of St. Andrew and St. Peter. She says those spots are in addition to the house and land at Farmers. Senator Sandiford Garner wants the agencies responsible to act with haste to move those most affected, saying some could even move before Christmas.
I would suggest that the reciting take place urgently. The District Disaster Emergency Agency would have done a report on their findings in November, and they are of one voice that the residents should be recited. After the residents have been recited, we could look at rehabilitating the area because it's a beautiful area. It lends itself to agrarian activity. Families are here. You know, the children are, as they keep saying, within walking distance if they wanted to a bus route from their schools. So they don't want to disrupt the community. But the practical solution right now, I think, would be to just move with haste to recite the individuals.
Parents can now finance their child's post-secondary education needs by means of a future builder plan with ICBL. Senior Vice President of the Life Division in ICBL, Henry Innes, says the plan will help deal with the costs that parents must now pay. Mr. Innes was speaking at the launch of the Educational Savings Plan.
The way this plan is structured, whether the parent lives right through to completion, or if the parent dies before completion or becomes disabled before completion, the plan completes itself. So the plan self-perpetuates, and that's a very key point that our plan has.
Mr. Innes adds that the plan was developed to cater to the requests of the clients who were concerned about the economic downturn.
For the time that we had, from the time the fees were increased at UE. They have been interested in this kind of plan. But I think persons were probably waiting to hear about if the government was going to introduce tax legislation to, to assist with paying for the plan. But, really and truly, whether or not legislation is introduced, the need for the plan is still there, and persons should go ahead and get it, because the last thing you want is to have a child with tremendous promise not being able to fulfill its potential.
The late banker Michael Mansur has been hailed as a man who made a significant contribution to CIBC First Caribbean International Bank and the many lives he touched. This tribute from the bank's Chief Executive Officer, Rick Parkhill, during a memorial service for Mr. Mansur at the St. Patrick's Roman Catholic Cathedral.
He took his responsibilities as leader of our bank very seriously and was keenly aware that the decisions we make at the top of the organization would affect negatively or positively the lives of not only 3,000 people, but also thousands more who depend on those people, and in turn the customers of the bank throughout the Caribbean and beyond. And Mike never lost sight of that responsibility. His legacy is one of solid leadership. His leadership of our bank was flavored with strong decisiveness, tempered by practicality, kindness, and compassion.
Mr. Parkhill also spoke about Mr. Mansur's devotion to the Catholic faith and his commitment to young people before announcing the establishment of the Michael Mansur Scholarship. It will benefit young people attending the St. Patrick's Roman Catholic School and St. Francis, the Roman Catholic School for boys.
Mike Mansur was a devoted Catholic, and his life was guided by his faith. Indeed, his faith was a source of great comfort to him and his family as his illness progressed. But Mike was also a man devoted to education as a means of uplifting and empowering the region's youth. The Michael Mansur scholarships are intended to embody those ideals and to provide opportunities for some of the most vulnerable among us to launch out on that great journey which an education offers.
Founder of the People's Cathedral, Pastor Emeritus Dr. Holmes Williams has died. He passed away quietly about 10:45 this morning at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital with his family by his side. He had been hospitalized in the intensive care unit over the past 2 weeks. Ryan Broom now takes a look back at the life of the late senior pastor.
The late Pastor Emeritus founded the People's Cathedral more than 50 years ago, and it has since grown to become the largest evangelical church in the Eastern Caribbean. During his lifetime, he conducted many crusades in most of the English and French Caribbean islands, as well as North America, Europe, Asia, and Africa. His familiar voice has been known for many years on popular radio programs Christ is the Answer and The Good News. His public life extended beyond the church, and he also served as chairman of the Caves Authority, which was the statutory corporation that oversaw the development of Harrison's Cave in the 1970s. In 1992, Mr. Williams received the Silver Crown of Merit from the government of Barbados in recognition of his service to the Christian Church. He was awarded the Honorary Doctor of Divinity by Faith Theological Seminary in Tampa, Florida, in recognition of his years of outstanding service as pastor and evangelist. He is also the recipient of the Master of Theology and Bachelor of Theology degrees. More recently, he participated in the opening of the church's radio station, Christ is the Answer, or CETA Radio, which also operates from Colombo Rock. Pastor Emeritus Williams would have celebrated his 76th birthday next Saturday. He leaves to mourn his wife, Rosemary, 3 sons, 8 grandchildren, and extended family. May he rest in peace. Ryan Broom, CBC News.
Well, as news of Reverend Holmes Williams' passing reached the People's Cathedral, a heavy mood descended on the members of the staff there. When a CBC News crew visited the compound, Barbadians were willing to share their fond memories of the pastor and about his generosity, sense of humor, and professionalism.
That was his personality, and as a leader, I was his secretary for some time, and Pastor took me under his wing. He trained me, he not only in things to do with the ministry, but personal things to do with life that would help you to grow and progress. He was always talking about learning and doing courses to expand your knowledge and so on. And that was the type of person that Pastor Williams was.
He had a tremendous fun-loving side. And I remember one Sunday morning, this is, I guess, about somewhere in the 60s, there was a thing called a bag of laughs. It was a little bag with this machine in it. And there was this raucous laugh. And he set it up in the pulpit in the middle of the morning service, and all of a sudden this thing went off. And, everybody's there with their eyes wide open, and he's just up on the platform killing himself laughing because he had set this thing up. And in his younger days, jumping right on top of the pulpit and preaching from on top of the pulpit, and his fun-loving side and his outgoing side are things that I will long remember.
I was shocked at hearing his passing because he was like a spiritual father and mentor in my own life. And I regard him as one of the pioneers and the father of the evangelical ministry in Barbados and the Caribbean. I've known him for years. I've known Reverend Dr. Holmes Williams since in the 1970s. Yes, in the 60s, 70s, for many, many years. And we have got much closer in the last 10 years or so, very much closer, and we talk quite a lot in exchange. I could carry anything to him because I drew from his wisdom as an older man, his experience. I'm a younger person, so I talk to him to gain some experience and wisdom, and he normally shares with me, so I look forward for that. I will miss that.
I remember sitting in his office one day discussing the progress of his first grandson, and I remember him telling me personally that he appreciated all that I was doing as a young person. And he also asked me, he literally asked me to hang around and to stick around because he believed that there were going to be great things in store for me here at this school. And that, I will say to you that helped to propel me through the years. In midst of challenges and everything else, you always heard those words, someone encouraging you, someone there saying, you're doing a good job, keep going. That was the kind of man he was.
We'll have more news after this break, but first we want to hear from you on this question. Do you believe the Employment Rights Tribunal could be up and running by early January? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. We'll share the results at the end of the news.
Upgrade to data all the way. Get the Huawei Y330 with a great free gift. Upgrade Christmas with Line.
Kids, tired of those same old boring snacks? Snap out of it and tell Mom snacking is a breeze with Anchor cheddar cheese. Try Anchor cheddar on crackers, in a sandwich, as fruit and cheese kebabs, or on its own, and you'll see snack time is fun again with Anchor. And Moms, Anchor cheddar is hormone-free and made from the milk of New Zealand cows. That means it's not just tasty, it's healthy. With Anchor cheddar, you've got great taste.
Distributed by Bryden's.
Deck the halls with Christmas spirit. La, 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 la. Make your Christmas bright and merry. La, 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 la. We're getting in the spirit at My Cave Shepherd. Crossing off your list at My Cave Shepherd. The best Christmas gifts at My Cave Shepherd. Meet me for memories at My Cave Shepherd. Unwrap all your Christmas treasures. La, 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 la. Meet me here at My Cave Shepherd. La, 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 la.
With high-quality service and its invaluable contribution to trade, industry and commerce, it brings international recognition to Barbados and continues to be the best in class.
90% of the people in Barbados said, do you think you can build a wall out there in the sea? As fast as you build it, the sea is going to knock it down. Well, it's been there now 50 years, and as far as I know, it's still standing there.
And the port now became a center of industrial activity in Barbados.
This is the story of Barbados' seaportal, the port of Bridgetown, and it's coming soon to CBC TV8.
A Christchurch man is now out on $10,000 bail, this after appearing in the District A Magistrates Court today on drug possession charges. Police say 41-year-old Renee Griffith of Lodge Road was charged for possession of close to 4.5 pounds of cannabis, possession with intent to supply, and trafficking the drugs. The arrests stem from police investigations into a December 11th shooting incident at Smith's Corner, Sergeant's Village, Christchurch. Police say Griffith, who pleaded not guilty to the charges, has been asked to reappear in court on March the 23rd next year. 2 men have been reported missing, and the police are asking for your assistance in finding them. The first is 34-year-old Antonio Watson, alias Pickout and Mikerts of Boscobel, St. Peter. He was wearing a striped black and red polo shirt, dark blue jeans, tan Timberland boots, and a black cap with a camouflage peak when he left home on the night of December the 12th. Watson is 5 feet 9 inches tall, stoutly built, has a dark complexion. He has tattoos of the words Ja Live and a marijuana leaf, along with another tattoo of a sword and a snake on his right hand, and 2 teardrops under his left eye. He also has a scar on his neck. The other missing man is 79-year-old Rufus Nathaniel Pilgrim of Map Hill, St. Michael. He left home on Tuesday at 11 in the morning wearing a cream-colored dress pants, a brown shirt, black shoes, black cap with the letters BMW to the front. He was also carrying a small black handbag. Pilgrim is 6 feet tall, slim-build, light brown complexion, has brown eyes, silver hair, and wears spectacles. He reportedly suffers from memory loss and frequents the Map Hill, Dash Valley and South District communities. Anyone with information relative to the whereabouts of Rufus Pilgrim or Antonio Watson is asked to contact the emergency number 211 or the nearest police station. A senior official at the Child Care Board is appealing for more assistance from corporate Barbados to help the increasing number of families turning to that agency for help. Deputy Director Denise Nurse says harsh economic times are putting a strain on more and more families in this country, hence the need for a greater contribution. Speaking at a presentation of Christmas hampers and gifts from the Republic Bank at its Broad Street branch, Ms. Nurse revealed that there has been a decline in the level of assistance the board is receiving.
Somehow this year, my numbers are a little bit on the lower end. But I'm hoping corporate Barbados will hear this call and still come forward and assist us, in particular with hampers. Last year, we would have received 218 hampers, and those hampers would have gone to 218 families. This year, we have only received 172 hampers, so we are falling short by some 46. So I would love us to get an additional at least 50 hampers to bring us to the number of 220. So that we can at least touch 220 families.
Assistant Manager of Sales and Marketing for Republic Bank, Solange Bruce, says it was the 7th year that the bank has been giving to the Child Care Board as part of their corporate responsibility program. While another agency reporting a decline in donations is the HIV/AIDS Food Bank. Manager Stacia Whitaker says this is in the face of an increase in clients this year. She says a lot of clients still do not want to be seen coming to the food bank for assistance because of the discrimination factor.
Only yesterday I was speaking to a new client that referred to us, and she is being referred because she's out of a job. And she's out of a job because of stigma and discrimination. She's been told, unfortunately, she won't be able to work where she's been working now that they found out that she's HIV positive. And this story is just one of many. And she has a child to feed, and she was very distraught.
Ms. Whitaker was speaking during the media launch of Love, Poetry and Song 2015. That concert will be held on Valentine's Day next year at the Hilton, Barbados. One of the singers who performed at the last event, Tabitha, says she was happy to contribute to the cause.
The camaraderie between everybody, like from the GIS family, to the artists, it just felt right. And I knew I had to be there at that point. Now we look at music as a tool. And if this tool is used correctly, then it spreads and you know, it does what it needs to do. It's a healer, it's a comforter. Music is awesome. And I'm happy that I was gifted enough to share my tool and my craft with everyone else.
Regional news next, but first a reminder, we'd like to hear from you on this question. Do you believe the Employment Rights Tribunal could be up and running by early January? Text yes or no to the short code 8111. We will